Hey everyone, Merry Christmas and welcome back to my channel. Today I just want to give my candid thoughts on the Tory Lanez verdict. I had a longer video that I was recording on my personal thoughts and analysis of the case based on the evidence, but I don't even know what to do right now because the verdict just came. So I just want to, give my thoughts and reactions and opinions based on it, and then maybe I'll still release that video. Much respect to the judge and the jury, but I do not think the jury got it right. Tory Lanez should not have been convicted for this crime. He did not commit. There was no corroboration in any of the stories. None of the witnesses, except for EJ, were truly credible. More than 22 years of someone's life is on the line. And with that, the LAPD investigation should have been way more thorough. So many more questions needed to be asked. So much more evidence, DNA tests need to be done, needed to be taken. And so many more questions needed to be asked. More DNA. More gunshot residue. Megan should have been tested. If they really wanted to get justice for this crime, to find out the truth instead of convicting somebody, the truth. So many more tests needed to be taken in order to really get a sense of the circumstances of that night, who is the victim and who truly could have been the suspect. Now, before y'all jump on me, I'm a black woman. I'm all for Black Lives Matter, protecting black women, but this verdict is simply an injustice for Tory Lanez and his family. There was no witness corroboration in this case, and all of the evidence points to Kelsey being the shooter. Kelsey and Megan were the only two to know where that gun was and that it was even in that bag. Think about why they even had the gun. Matter of fact, think about why EJ came in to testify. There were two main parts of his testimony. The first one was what was everyone's demeanor that night. The second part was what was in that bag. Why was the bag in question? Because it was moved. It was found moved when law enforcement arrived on the scene, took a picture of that bag. We've contextualized Meg and Kelsey's relationship as just best friends, but she was also Megan's personal assistant. And with personal assistants, they should know about all security protocol. So if they knew that Justin was not going to be in town that weekend when they went to Kylie's house, then Kelsey knew about what security precautions they would take. EJ testified to taking mace and tasers with them when they traveled. So yeah, a gun is a step up, but I'm sure they both would know about it and understand how to work it. And whether Justin left the gun there or not for them, whether the gun Justin belongs to him or Meg or Kelsey, I mean, I have my own separate theories about that, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that the gun was in Megan's personal items. So to put that on Tory when his DNA wasn't in the magazine, which means he didn't load that gun. Don't you think if a gun belonged to Tory Lanez that he would load his own gun? His DNA was inconclusive on the fingerprint. The gun was also found on the floorboard of the passenger seat of the car that they got stopped in when police arrived too. Now, if my friends were fighting over a gun, I damn sure would have taken the gun away from them, kept that in my seat. Of course, I don't agree that Megan should have gotten hurt, but Tory shouldn't have been charged for that gun. They didn't even tell us who owned the gun, where it was registered to. Yeah, it had a serial number, but the gun was not registered. But it came out of Megan's bag. So why would Tory be charged for a gun that came out of Megan's bag? Megan should take the charge for that gun. But hey, since I know you guys are going to kill me for my opinion on this, hey, let's get Kelsey to take that charge because she triggered that gun first. And even if Tory put them shots in the air, he was trying to save and protect them and separate them, as did Quan. They tried to help those women. And this is how you repaid him? First, I respected Kelsey for her testimony and for not, even though she was inconsistent, I respected her for not incriminating Tory. And she didn't incriminate Megan either. She didn't really help either side, but she also didn't incriminate either side. But she's definitely saved herself. And I don't really know how to feel about that now because I truly don't feel that anybody should suffer any consequences for this crime. I feel like it was a drunken night with friends that went too far. And I feel like at a certain point, everybody kind of tried to protect each other. But they've all went through public scrutiny to some extent. Nobody should have any legal consequences for this. Because if Justin didn't have anything to hide or anything to protect, why didn't he come to testify? If he was Megan's bodyguard, what would be the goal of his testimony? Why didn't he make that happen? And I'm so sad that Quan couldn't come to testify for Tory in time because we needed somebody to tell his side. And unfortunately, we will never know the truth of that night. And a lot of people want to find, the culprit, but they don't want to know the truth. And Tory was the only one that could have gotten us closer to the truth. And this is why I have to put some respect on him, because he knew the truth from the beginning, as did all of them. And he never got to speak. So when people say that all of them lied, how did Tory lie? When he only came on live back in 2020, when all of that was going down, because Meg spoke first, he wanted to protect himself, and then they put a gag order on him. So he couldn't speak, and he chose not to speak in court. So we never know what he's thinking or what actually happened from his perspective. And nobody came to testify for him. Before I go any further, I want to make it clear that I actually started off on Megan's side. As I said before, I'm a Black woman and I'm all about protecting Black women. And of course, as Megan said, why would she lie about getting shot? But after this trial started and the evidence came out, it did not align with her story. That changed several times before we got here. And I'm not a fan of neither Tory or Megan. That being said, Tory had the least amount of motive to shoot that night. Megan was very irritated, who didn't want to leave the party, who was irritated that he was flirting with Kylie. Kelsey was irritated because she found out that they were sleeping together behind her back, and it wasn't the first time. And that's why her past was necessary and relevant to this case. It's a shame that Meg let Rock Nation drive a wedge between her, Kelsey, Justin, and everyone else who was friends with her or worked with her during that time. Although Kelsey did Tory wrong in letting him go down for this, she chose her son over him and his son, and I'm sad for all parties involved. Tory's defense did an amazing job, and the prosecution does not deserve the win they got. Meg betrayed Kelsey by sleeping with Tory and the baby after her. Meg betrayed Tory for not naming Kelsey as the shooter. Everyone was in a tough position, but at least you could have just told the truth. Where's the empathy for the child who was without his father for the holidays? Does the crime match the punishment? The American justice system has failed again. Here are some important lingering questions that I felt like should have been answered during the trial. Did Meg really go back for the slipper? Because I have yet to hear about a witness saying they found the slipper, but that's neither here or there. Why didn't Sean Kelly distinguish between which girl he was talking about when he said they shot the gun? Because he distinguished between the differences between the men. One was tall and one was short. Why would Kelsey ask for immunity if she wasn't the shooter? Why didn't Justin want to testify for his former boss and friend? If Meg was sitting in the front passenger seat before they got out of the car to have the altercation, why was the bag found in the open in the back seat? Why weren't all parties involved tested for gunshot residue and DNA on the gun? And lastly, why has Meg not pressed charges on Tory if she feels like her life was in jeopardy? Thanks so much for listening to my thoughts. I hope we can find some comfort, hope, and understanding in this verdict. I look forward to the appeal process, and I'm keeping Tory and his family in my thoughts. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I hope to see you back for the next one. What were your thoughts and feelings on this case and the verdict? Definitely leave me a comment below and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is my support system, and I'm his too.